Yes, YouTube, welcome back to another one. Thank you for tuning in. As you can see today, how to grow the damn upper body. Everything from waist upwards. I've had quite a few of leg sessions here now in EP Jungle, but I've not filmed a fair amount of upper body training. So I'm going to go through my upper session, basically show you guys a breakdown of what my training looks like for upper, my sets, reps, execution, how I'm thinking about going into my sets, my selection. We'll just go through my entire vocab of training essentially and just look at how I've been growing my upper body since last prep, because I think my upper's grown exponentially, especially through like my arms, top line, and my chest, even though I don't do a lot of volume for that whatsoever. And most importantly, my back work, because it's something that I know not just me and a lot of other individuals like struggle to connect with. So a lot of back cues going into this session. Let's get straight in. Let's get in the gym. Let's get cracking on. Let's get talking. It's actually Boxing Day, so it should be quite quiet in here, but there's not too many people. But it's not exactly quiet. It's like somewhere in the mid ground. Starting off in an extreme row. Essentially, my movements will go in order of the shit that's super heavy, but also what I need more of, or what I don't need as much of, let's say. So that's ideal. Chalk all over me. So I'll usually start off with something that I know I need more of. I need more upper back. So I'm obviously going to do an upper back movement first. One that's going to be heavy predominantly in the mid or the short. This prime extreme row is exactly that. So I'm going to probably do mid or mid peg straight away. Toast the upper back musculature where it's weakest. And then I can go into, my following movements. So yeah, starting off with the weak parts essentially. Starting off with the upper back work. Rep ranges, we'll go from a low rep range work into a higher rep range. I don't need to get as much blood into this muscle group, especially once I'm warm, mostly because I have a good connection with my upper back musculature. It's my lats that I don't. So I'll usually do the latter, or I'll start with some sort of intensifier, getting the lat short, like a pullover, when it's going for a movement where I don't have a lot of blood in that muscle group. So starting off anyway on this prime extreme row, the basics, chalk, straps, non-negotiable. We'll get straight into it, man, straight into it. One thing that has to be like switched on and the same every single week with my back work is these. And it's with all my work, but specifically back work, where my arm path travels or where my elbow finishes is so important for me getting a good connection that I have to keep a note of these. Even though I'm not log booking, if I was ever to forget these, I do have a log of them. And I'm not far into my mesocycle that I don't forget these anymore. But these are something that are super important. Just remembering where your adjustments are on machines. Otherwise, essentially every week you're going to be traveling to a different direction with that arm path, especially for back work, man. So third set here, obviously descending, basically from mid peg, just shifting gradually up towards that top peg. So I've got a higher percentage up there. Now I think I'm at about, a 1-to-3 ratio really, or there and thereabouts in top peg. I'll go for a higher rep here, and that'll be my third set there. So a 6 and 8 and like probably the 10 plus here. And then I'll move into getting my lat short with a lat pullover, and I'll either rest pause or drop set that depending on how I'm feeling, one of the two. I just vary between the two depending on how I'm feeling on the day, whatever gets my lats pumped. So yeah, one more set here and then we'll move across. And you can see I'm shrugging the last of every set that I possibly can. Just getting some extra movement there through the trap. controlling as much as I can through that stretch range, especially for my upper back, letting that muscle tissue just move around the scapula as much as I possibly can. And then, opposite on the concentric, hard, aggressive, still controlled, but hard and assertive, trying to drive into getting that short for my upper back work. So, Yep. One set here, one set and a drop set. Next to nothing, and it adds up though. It amounts to something, and this is just me getting my lats warm. And this is what I mean when I say, for some stuff, I don't have to get a lot of blood in my muscle group for me to feel it. In some stuff I do. It tends to be smaller muscle groups that you'll need that. It also tends to be smaller muscle groups that you won't need as much load on, because stimulating that requires a lot less total load. You can just be accurate and get so much out of it. The rear delt and the arms, Oh. 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 And nice and warm now on the Cybex Eagle row. 2 sets here on both sides. Unilateral for the lat row and the pull down. Always want to get that elbow and that arm path traveling across the midline of the torso so I can really stretch that lat out. That can only be done unilaterally, so single arm here. Nope, let's work. I think it's actually so useful. I think it's so useful, like, as you get towards later years of training, at first, getting strong, the ability for you to just get super strong across the board will benefit you in some sort of adaptation to muscle growth. I think as you get later down the board, getting attached to quality is so useful. Just make sure, one, you're not wasting your training, that none of that is being, associated with junk volume, and also that progression to true as you are getting stronger, as you do go to those later depths. When I'm in the middle of doing a set, I have this funny little game of thinking, if this set was being recorded and being sent to like one of my current idols, if this set was getting sent to like, Phil Heath, what would he look at that and say? Like, would he look at that and say it was a good set, or would he say like, I don't know, could have been better? You know what I mean? You should be striving to make your sets perfect across the board. Obviously, you're never going to get perfection, and sometimes people over-obsess with that. But knowing that sometimes quality is more important than just chasing a progression, and sometimes you should chase a progression and maybe not strive so much towards being picture perfect with your training. Just get strong, make it look good, and if you sit in that realm, in that middle of that Venn diagram, you'll be completely fine. When I'm doing my lat work, one of my big cues is also to make sure that I'm actually trying to if I put my hand straight up like this, shift the elbow inside of that wrist, because when you say bring the elbow to the hip, this is bringing the elbow to the hip to a lot of people. They can't understand this space. But if you say make sure you're trying to drive your elbow inside of your wrist, look what happens there. You start driving into the lat musculature properly. So yeah, big cue for myself there. Got one more set here and then I'll move over. Okay, so 3 and a 50 inside on the top set. I think this diet, I want to try and move this into 4. I think I can. It just depends how well my strength withholds on this, and the key thing is just not dropping off in quality. Not telling my brain like, oh yeah, no, this set looks really good, it looks good, because I'm getting attached to load. And I think that's one thing that the logbook can like lack of recently, is let me deviate away from, which is good. And not that I let my work get sloppy, but there's not letting your work get sloppy and then there's letting your work get sloppy. If your work's at a standard where it's like, you know, exceptional, and you let that slide to just like great, then it's still sloppier. Just because it still looks great, it doesn't mean it's not sloppier. So just really trying to maintain my quality of work at the moment. So we'll see what we get here. Looking for like such a low repper. I stimulate the pec no matter what. I'm looking for like a 5 or 6 here, and I'll be over the moon. Oh. 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 Oof. I know when to take one, when like not to take one. And taking that, it would have been one very scruffy. You would have seen the hip shifting, and it also would have took a lot of detriment out of my next set. I've got 2 more sets of pressing after this next set. So being mindful, that was the 50-50. Some people like don't take a 50-50 ever, and then some people take a 30-70. Do you know what I mean? And I take a 50-50, but I'll never take nothing more than that, unless I know that I've needed that rep for progression. I took a progression already. You're good. You need to keep room for progressive overload to come in the next session. If I'm taking a 30-70 there, scruffy, my only way up from that is taking it as a 50-50, and then taking it as another 50, then taking it tidy. 3 weeks to get a rep clean, not needed. One more set here, won't bother filming that set. We'll do this last set and then move over to the Cybex Smith so that we can shoulder press and then fly. Then after that, it's the rest of the top line, so delts, arms, all of that good stuff. But let's go over to the Smith so we can continue pressing. Into the rest of the press work now. 2 sets on here. Thinking about just keeping everything here stacked nice and strong. Okay, let's work then. If I don't take what I think I'll take, like I thought I might get the +1 take a 5 there. If not, then I'll just accumulate for that in the back off and make sure that it's a higher repper in that following set, and that leaves me where I need to be, so that's not a problem. So we'll back off to 1.5 here and then work with that instead, see what we get with that. That'll be my second set, and then I can go into the rest of my delt work, arm work, finish the session off from there. Come on then. Into the lateral, so 3 sets here on this lateral. We'll literally work my way from cam 1 to 3, 1, 5, 3. And probably keep load round and about the same and drop off from like an 11 to 15 to an 8 to 10. And then maybe just like bring load down a little bit there and get another 8 to 10. I don't mind getting higher up working here from a delts again, side delt, smaller muscle group, something that I want to stimulate, so I'll bring down load, match that, you know, making sure that I'm accurate and getting to the muscle. So 3 sets here. Got this pad as well, pushing me back a little bit, just so that I can keep my arms moving in the frontal plane. If I move this, I'm pretty much sat as far forward as I can. I don't have an option other than to move sideways outwards. If I straighten my arms and don't hold the handles, I can move a little bit more in like a 30-degree in front of the torso motion, which helps. So pad here as well. Let's get it cracking, man. Oh. Easy cues here, easy cues, literally. Out to the corners of the room, the easiest of cues. Push the arms forward, and I'm just making sure I've got like a slight angle in my torso, not straight up. I tend to feel that I hit the rear delt a lot better when I'm on a slight angle. And then just driving out to the corners, really simple here, 2 sets. And then we'll move on to the arm work. Oh! Thanks, bro.